wonderful and safe holiday season. Really warm. Here in Mohenstis, we have had a lot of snow, which I laugh about because one of my girls was like, I really want a white Christmas. I'm like, well, you got your wish, so go shovel. But I think it's just a good time to reflect on the year that's passed and really inspire for the year ahead. And for me, the new year starts in on solstice, because that's when the sun starts to come back. So that's when the year starts to begin again. And so it really gives us that opportunity to kind of take stock of what's important. And this year has really been that constant reminder of what is important. How do we connect? How do we really take care of ourselves, but also the people that we care about and we love around us? And so it's a blessing and a gift. Even though we've had really challenging and trying times, even though we've lost a lot of really wonderful, beautiful people, it really reminds us of what is special, what is sacred, and that's the time that we get to spend with each other. So before I get started to go off on any more rants, I always like to start by acknowledging the land upon which we stand, because it's really important. Because if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going, but also it gives us a sense of place. It gives us a sense of connection, not only to the land itself, but of the history that's been here for thousands upon thousands of generations. I am Cree, Anishinaabe, and Métis from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation in Saskatchewan. My family is Grey Eyes. And we're also related to the Ladus and the Lafons and the Sands and a whole bunch. I always laugh because I say I'm Cree, but I'm related to everybody. But I always look back on my roots and where my family is from, and how important that connection is to maintain not only the connection to our teachings, which were almost completely abolished, but that connection to our sense of home, our sense of family. And even though there was a lot of issues caused by the residential school, a lot of intergenerational trauma, and a lot of families that have had some struggles to stay together, it is that hope. It reminds us that we're still here, so we have the opportunity to move forward and thrive the way that we're meant to. So I acknowledge my family and where I'm from there. Now I live here in Mohenstis in Treaty 7 territory, and I'm also humbled to live here. I've learned so much from this land, so much from the people here, so much from the elders here, and I've had so much gifts and guidance, and there are people from all over here, and it's such a blessing to be able to learn from everyone and to grow together in a meaningful way. And so I honor the Blackfoot of Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani. I honor the Sarsidane from Tsutsuna and the Stoney Nakoda from Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. All of those nations I have been to, I have spent time on. I have built relationships with elders and knowledge keepers out there on all of the reserves, and I think it's important to have perspectives, but also understand how deep the history runs. I mean, it's amazing how archaeology just keeps discovering all of these incredible things that, we've known for thousands of years, thousands of generations, but I think science has this thing where they need to prove it. They need something tangible, and unfortunately oral storytelling is not necessarily tangible. But whenever they discover a site that's over 15,000 years old in our own backyard, it really reminds us of just how important it is to learn those stories, how important it is to honor those families that have been here for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of generations, who have kept those stories alive, those songs, those ceremonies, all of those things. In spite of all of the adversity that we had to face, we still are thriving. And I think that's really important to remember. And so just to welcome everybody into the circle today, I wanted to share with you the Cree welcome song. I think it's just such a beautiful way to begin. It's a wonderful way to start, to welcome everybody into the circle. And we sing it in 3 rounds. Normally all our songs are sung in rounds of 4 to honor the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. But this song we sing in 3 to keep the circle open and welcoming, so everyone completes the circle today, because in a circle we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the Hoop of Life. Hi, Audrey. And it reminds us that we're all important. We all have value. We all have something that we can bring to the table. And it reminds us that we have to discover what that thing is. What is that thing that makes us unique, that makes us special, that no one else has? Because if we're comparing ourselves to others, we're not going to go anywhere. But when we find that thing that really is what Creator gifted us with, it's that, you know, that essence of who we are, that's when we truly, you know, excel, and that's when we truly can give back to our community in a meaningful way. That's what the song honors. It teaches us that, you know, we have to come into the circle without judgment. We have to come into that circle with acceptance and love. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to agree 100% of the time, but it's when we can find those compromises, then come together, that's when we truly make the community and the circle strong and resilient. So Miasin represents that. And it's from the Nataha family from Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, which is on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. And I thank this family for keeping these songs and this song and the story behind the song alive, because for so many generations we couldn't. We couldn't share our songs, we couldn't share our stories, we couldn't practice our ceremony or our culture. And so the fact that these songs remain and now we're able to share them, which was truly the meaning of the treaty, was to share. Not to rescind any of our rights, but to share. But we're starting to come back to that way of knowing that, come back to that way of being, and hopefully we will come back faster so that we're able to reconnect to the teachings of the land, so that we can actually start respecting the fact that we're part of the land. We aren't above it or below it. We are part of it. It is our brethren. It is our family. It is, you know, this is why we say all my relations, because all of the trees and the plants and the animals and the rocks and the air and the water, everything we're related to. They run through our veins and we need them as part of us. We need to learn from them. And so this song honors that. It honors everything in that circle. Miasin, which is the Cree welcome song, it doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. Have a quick sip of water so my voice sounds slightly better. Miasin, miasin, hasemina, hasemina, epetakote, niwagomagan. Hota homa kitaskino miasin miasen hasemina hasemina epetakote niwagomagan hota homa kitaskino miasin miasen hasemina hasemina epetakote niwagomagan hota homa kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today, everybody. So I'm going to start with a smudge, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about cedar, just because I have been using a lot of it lately. But when I explain just kind of a quick brief of my medicines, I think it's important to understand these are just my teachings. It's important to learn from different elders and knowledge keepers and medicine people, because you'll never know what's going to resonate with you or what's going to make sense for you. And they're really, all of the medicines are dependent on where you're from, where you are, and how you use them depends on where you are as well. For example, there's different kinds of sage depending on where you harvest them is depending on what you use them for. White sage I used to harvest in Arizona, and I would burn it for smudging in Arizona. When I burn it up here, it smells weird to me. Whereas buffalo sage is in abundance up here in the prairies, and so we use it for smudging all the time. But when my mom sent me a bundle and I was smudging down south, it smelled really off. And when I asked one of my elders about it, he said the medicines grow where we need them, but when we have other medicines, they're used for different things. For example, buffalo sage is used more for like a poultice. You like scrunch it up with some oils and you can use it on your skin a lot more down there for things like arthritis or joint pain, or different kinds, like if you have a stiff neck. It's really amazing. It really penetrates. But up here, the white sage is really good for tea, just to kind of clean things out. It's really good for just getting your body kind of regulated, cleaning out any toxins that are kind of building up, and so it's really used better for that way up here. You'll still see a lot of people using white sage to smudge, but I don't know. To me, I just think I can't use it in that way just because I know the teachings behind it, and it just smells different for me. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. It's just different. It's whatever makes sense to you. And so I'm going to start in the east. And even though I'm not going to be using all of my medicines today, I'm going to be laying all of them out. And so in the east, we have sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is I've been using this one a lot. So it's considered the sweetest medicine, the children's medicine, also the masculine medicine. It's in the east, which is where grandfather sun is. So there's that masculine energy of grandfather sun. It's connected to fire because grandfather sun's a big ball of fire. It's renewal, rebirth. So this is why it's connected to kids, because that's where we start our lives. That's where plants and animals start when grandfather sun returns in the spring. New life begins. But it also teaches us about our mind, because we actually learn more when we're kids. And when we look at grandfather sun, it's really about guidance. It's about understanding. It's about illuminating the world around us and seeing those brand new things and learning as they grow, as we grow. And so sweetgrass, and sweetgrass is really good for making decisions. It's in that braid to remind us whenever we make decisions, it's not just for us. We have to think 7 generations behind. What did my ancestors do to bring me here? Am I honoring all of the sacrifices that they have made, everything that they've gone through to get me here? And am I respecting that legacy that they've left for me? And then we think 7 generations forward, what is the decision that I'm making today? How is that going to affect my future generations? Is it going to leave a better world for them? Or am I leaving a mess for them to clean up? And so when we make decisions like that, we make way better decisions, because it's not just about us. It's about honoring the past, and it's about leaving that legacy for the future. And so this is why we honor sweetgrass. This is why it's braided. And the next medicine, which I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth about, is cedar. I actually have a few different kinds of cedar here. These are little pieces. I'm going to bust out some big pieces because I was actually gifted 2 different kinds of cedar, so I'm really, really thankful for the fact that I have both kinds of cedar. And I'm going to show the brief little difference in them. My girls are playing video games in the other room, so if it gets a little loud, that's why. So, these are 2 different kinds of cedar. You can kind of slightly see the difference. This one is a little bit more tightly packed. This one is a little bit looser. So cedar teaches us how to honor our body. It teaches us how to honor our connection to the earth, to the plants, the animals. It also is really about what we need. It teaches us how to honor the fact that we grow. We need the earth to sustain us, but we also have a relationship with the earth, with our body, through our bodies. So trees, cedar in particular, we breathe out, it breathes in, and vice versa. And so it teaches us about that cycle, that reciprocal relationship that we have. Cedar is phenomenal for our health. Like it's antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It's got an antihistamine in it. It has a really cool numbing agent in it. And so if you have a sore throat, you can boil it, put it in tea. You only need like a cup a day, honestly, and you probably don't even need that much. But it totally like numbs your throat and it cures what ails you. So, but it doesn't taste very good. It's like Buckley's. It tastes awful, but it works. Yeah. So, red cedar, you can have a little bit more than a cup a day, but white cedar, you have to kind of limit yourself because it is quite strong. So you'll notice those densely packed sprigs. It's because the white cedar has a little bit more medicine, whereas these sprigs are a little bit more loosely packed. So it does have a lot of good medicine as well, but it's just not as super concentrated. So if you are really sick, you'll have the white cedar. If you can feel something coming on, you'll use the red cedar. You can grind it up and put it in like a lotion, or I mix it with bear grease, but not a lot of people have bear grease handy. And you can put it in your muscles, and it's really good for just like relaxing. I gotta actually put some on my shoulder. My shoulders are really stiff. But you can also boil it and throw it in your bath, and it's really good for just aches and pains. It's wonderful for fibromyalgia. Honestly, I was having a lot of cedar baths after all of my surgeries, and occasionally I'll still have one, but it just really helps to relax my muscles, to really deal with my scar tissue, to really deal with any scars in general. It's really wonderful. And honestly, I think it saved my life because there was so many days that I couldn't even move, but I'd have a cedar bath and then I'd be okay afterwards. Just because of the amount of surgeries that I had gone through. But you know, it's amazing. We have these things at our disposal, at our fingertips, and as long as we're taking them in a good way and we're not taking and taking and taking, we're always giving something back, they're going to be there for us. As long as we're harvesting sustainably, they're going to be there for us. We just have to know, you know, what the limits are. We have to listen to the teachings of the trees. We have to listen to the teachings of the animals, because you know, it's pretty short-sighted to think that we know better just because of all our technology in the last, you know, 1,000 years. But all of this, we've been here a lot longer than that. So it's important to understand why we've been here and how we've maintained that. So cedar helps us to be humble. It helps us to connect to the earth in that way. Also, it's really good for like rashes, so things like allergic reactions, again, because it has an antihistamine, eczema, psoriasis, anything like that. It's really good for getting those things. So either boiling it and like soaking in it, or even just grinding it up and then putting it in you can even use coconut oil. That works really well. But I've been using a lot of it because my asthma gets really bad in the winter. And so what I do is I boil it on the stove and I inhale the vapors. And it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal for opening up my chest and just like decongesting, but also helping my asthma along, which is great. And so I honor cedar in a meaningful way. You can actually burn it in a smudge. We usually burn it a lot this time of year, just because it not only cleanses the air when you burn it, most smudge will, but there's something a little extra in the winter because of course we're cooped up inside and we're sharing all of these germs. We're sharing recycled air essentially. So when we burn cedar, it actually helps to clean the air a little bit better. I mean, sage does that anyway. Any of the smudge does. But there's something a little lingering, something that cedar lingers in. And even when we're doing a ceremony, when we're trying to ground energy, we'll put cedar boughs in there to burn it off, that energy. So it's really about protection. It's about letting things go. It's about letting things stay gone. But really acknowledging the relationship that we have to those teachings, to those learnings, and really about grounding energy. So this is why it's really invaluable. And I've been using a lot of it lately, like a lot of cedar tea, just about a cup a day, just because I know this time of year, being cooped up inside, I'm not traveling around as much as I used to. And so I'm finding that stagnant energy is kind of starting to drag me down. But the cedar tea is really helping, not only from a physical perspective, but just generally the sense of well-being when I finish a cup of cedar tea. With lots of honey, because like I said, it tastes terrible. So the next medicine that we're going to smudge with today, actually I'm going to smudge with a little bit of cedar today as well, but and I'm going to show you actually how to do that if you're going to use multiple medicines and you're not using a charcoal. So this is buffalo sage, which I'm very, very thankful for. I'd run out, and then I had been gifted a whole bunch, so I'm very, very thankful for the gift of buffalo sage. I'm just going to pull it off the stem. When we pull it off the stem, it holds our energy, it holds our intention. So if you're going to give it to someone, leave it on the stem for them to choose what they want to do with. That's just an OG Cree teaching, but like I said, whatever makes sense to you. And so I'm just going to pull more off. That should be good. And so sage is the women's medicine. It's about cleansing. It's about honoring the water. It's about honoring Grandmother Moon. So we have Grandfather Sun in the east, Grandmother Moon in the west. And it's really about honoring who we are as women, but also honoring our emotions and how we deeply connect to each other through our emotions. Sometimes, especially in our society, our emotions are seen as a weakness, but they're not. They're our greatest strength, because without it, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have strong friendships and strong relationships the way that we need to. And so, that's beautiful, beautiful. I have extra cedar here, so I have some tiny, tiny sprigs. So, some people will actually use, like a charcoal. They'll light it, and then they'll put their medicines on top. I personally don't do that. That's just not what I've been taught. And so what I do is I actually just sprinkle a little bit of the cedar into the flattened out sage. A little bit more. And then I just kind of scrunch it, like fold it together. So this is the Cree crunch, and then this is the Blackfoot roll. Awesome. And then we have a nice little medicine bundle. Oops. And then we can just put that in our smudge bowl, which I'll talk about in a moment. And so sage can be found pretty much anywhere. It's the women's medicine. So I've been taught that when a woman is on her moon time, she's really strong, she's really powerful. So out of respect for men's medicine, which is Sweetgrass, if we're in mixed company, we won't smudge with everybody, or we won't smudge with Sweetgrass, because it's that men's medicine, and our energy is really abundant, so it'll overpower it. So we can smudge with sage, because that's everyone's medicine. It's women's medicine. It's for everyone. And it teaches us about really honoring water and honoring that connection to the moon, honoring our connection to our tears. And as our tears come, which they have a lot this year, it's important to honor them as they come, because that's what makes us human. That's what makes us a community and connected. And so the next medicine that we have, just briefly, I have Concessa, which is red willow bark, which I'll hopefully be harvesting in the next couple weeks. I'm waiting for it to get really cold so that all the medicine comes out of the roots, so the ground freezes and comes out. And then I, of course, have tobacco, which whenever you're picking any of your medicines, I always talk about always giving something back. Because if we take and take and take and take, there's going to be nothing left. Tobacco gives of itself freely and honorably and beautifully, and it not only is our way to honor each other, to say thank you from our spirit to someone else's spirit, it also is our way to pray, so we can lay it down for someone, we can lay it down for ourselves. When we gift it to a plant, we say thank you to that plant. We say thank you. We're always living in gratitude, but we're always giving something back before we take that plant. And we remember, always leave the roots of the plant in the ground. And the really great thing, because I love the science behind any of the medicines, is it's high in phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen, which helps those plants grow back faster. And I put it in my garden, which is awesome. I forgot to put it in part of my garden this year, and you can really tell the part of my garden that I did put it in versus the part that I didn't put it in, because the part that I did put it in, it was thriving. It didn't have a lot of bugs, because it kind of acts as a natural pesticide as well. So that's kind of the teachings around that. And so I'm going to light that. Oh, but first I'm going to take off my earrings. Oops. Yikes, yikes. Oops. I was going to say, so I saw my cousin just posted that these teachings are not for the internet. I have deeper teachings. These are surface level teachings that I've been taught by many elders, but also that have come through me, and I have permission to share them online, just because of course we can't share them in small groups anymore, so we have to make do. And I've been told this is a time when we have to come together to share and to learn from each other and to grow together and to build community in a meaningful way. And if we're not understood, then our voices aren't heard. And so this gives us a platform for our teachings to be heard. It gives us a platform for our medicines to be shared. And it also gives us a platform to teach people how to use them responsibly and respectfully. Because a lot of the time you're getting a lot of misinformation online. And so this is why I think it's important that you get many, many different sources, many, many different information. And that you know that not everyone is going to have the same opinions. Not everybody is going to have the same teachings. Not everybody is going to have, you know, the same medicines even. But it's really important just to respect, you know, what we've individually been taught, but also respect where we are. For example, I have bear drums that I make, but I never, ever, ever bring them out in Treaty 7. In Mohkinstsis, the Blackfoot have a relationship with the bear where it's family. And so it's not like you would make a drum out of an uncle. So out of respect for their teachings and out of respect for their boundaries, I never bring those bear drums out in public or to special events or within this territory unless I'm doing a private setting, a private ceremony, or a private function that specifically that has been requested. And so I think it's important to really understand that everyone's teachings are going to be diverse, but it's really about honoring and respecting and teaching people how to use them responsibly. So this is why we use the medicines responsibly. This is why we harvest the medicines responsibly, and why we always give something back. So that being said, I'm going to just show my beautiful smudge bowl. So the smudge bowl itself is a shell. Some people use shells. Some people use little pans like cast iron skillets. Some people use stones. Some people like hollowed out stones. Some people use sand in a box. So it's not right or wrong, it's just different. It's whatever makes sense to you, whatever your teachings are. My teachings are a shell to represent water, but everything represents that holding of all of the medicines. Whenever we put the medicine in there, it doesn't matter what the medicine is, as soon as it goes in the bowl, because it comes from the earth, it represents earth. When we light it on fire, it represents fire, and the smoke going up to Creator represents air, which is, you know, our connection to spirit. And so that being said, I'm going to light it. When we light it, make sure you're not blowing on it, because your breath is your life and your life is precious and you don't waste that for anybody. Oops. And so often I'll fan it with my hand. I used to have a feather, but I can't have feathers in my house anymore. My cats get them, and so I have a special spot for my feathers, but I don't bring them out for smudging. Oh, that smells so good with the cedar. Also, you can also, there's fans you can use, but it's not right or wrong. It's just different. It's whatever makes sense to you. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just wash my hands in it. So anything that I'm carrying, I get rid of. I'm going to bring it over my body 4 times to honor the 4 directions in my body. Also, I just wanted to note, I have 2 smudge bowls. Well, technically 3. So I have one for public, which is this one. And so when I smudge in public, I smudge differently than I do in ceremony. And when I do for specific rites or for myself. So, and also some people will say don't smudge online or don't smudge in public, but when we're doing a public smudge for demonstration, it's different than when we're doing a private smudge for ceremony. So very different. So, again, bring it over my body 4 times because I got distracted. I smudge my mind so I can think clearly and learn from every person that crosses my path. So I can remember to be open-minded and never rigid with my thinking. And so I can learn and grow. Smudge my ears so I can listen and hear all of the messages that Creator sends me. so I can be open to listen twice as much as I speak. Smudge my eyes so I can see all of the beauty that Creator has made all around us, so my vision can be clear, so I can see all the gifts that are in front of me. I smudge my nose so I smell danger and cookies, but also so I can recognize and honor all of my senses. I smudge my mouth so I can speak true and kind words that are helpful and benefit people. I always ask myself, is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it respectful? If it's none of those things, don't say it, don't do it. I smudge my throat because I'm very thankful for my voice this lifetime, so I give voice to the voiceless. And also I'm very thankful for my voice this lifetime, because that's the gift that Creator has given me. I smudge my arms and my hands so I can do the good work that Creator's put me here to do. My back and my shoulders so I can carry all of the responsibilities that Creator's gifted me with grace and humility. I'm going to smudge my heart so I can remember to be kind and compassionate and show unconditional love and patience to all those around me, my friends, my family, but also with myself. I smudge my stomach so all of the food that I eat this day will nourish my body and my spirit. I smudge my belly button because that's where your spirit is. And I smudge my lungs so I breathe good, clean air. And I smudge my legs so I walk this red road in a good way. That's that path of Aboriginal spirituality. And then I smudge my feet so I stay grounded and connected to Mother Earth, treading lightly upon her and honoring her with every step. Then if there's anyone that you want to send a little extra love to, somebody that, maybe they're going through something hard, some family and friends that we've lost, really hold those people in your heart and send them that love, send them that healing, send them that gentleness and appreciation. And then if there's anywhere else in your body that you need a little extra love, so my hips are still giving me some problems, even though I've had 4 surgeries, they're still giving me some issues, but so I always smudge them. And then of course my shoulders. And then when you're all done, you can say magwitch or hi or merci or grazia, or however you say thank you in your language, because your language is important. Put that over there. So had a lot of losses this year, so I'm going to share the healing song because I think it's really important to share that. This used to be it is it is a ceremonial song, but there's been several elders that have passed it forward and said now it's a time where we have to come together and we have to heal all together as a community, a great community. And so it's time for this song to be shared. It's time for this song to be used to pray for each other, to be able to pray for our society, our beautiful Mother Earth, for ourselves. And so in the song, we do it in a heartbeat. That's that heartbeat of Mother Earth. That's a healing beat. That's an honor beat. And so we pray with that beat. But the third round, we actually stop drumming. And in that silence, I invite you to think about the people in your life that need that healing. Think about, your friends, your family, maybe other people that are going through a lot, and send them that healing. But also don't forget to ask for your own healing for your friends, your family, and the people that need it. Even if something just pops into your head, send them that love. If there's a relationship that needs rebuilding, send that love there as well. Because really it's about honoring that connection and that healing that we all need. And don't be afraid to ask for those things that you need in your life. And then when the drum comes back, just let out all of that energy, that intention, that love, that healing, those asks to the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, Creator, whoever you believe in, to do that work for you. And so, that's what this healing song is all about. And it's really, really powerful. So, oh, there's my drip. And so this is the healing song. So I wanted to share this song that I had written, and it's really about honoring the voices of all of our ancestors, of all the relations. It's the Ancestral Bird Song, and so in it, it's really about that the connection that the birds have to us. They try and teach us things, they try to tell us things, and their voice is resonant, but they're also the voice of community. So when I wrote this song, it was really about, actually, I didn't even write it. I always say write, but I didn't. It just kind of came through me. And it was really about that deep connection that I had with the birds, but specifically with the blue jay, and the way that the blue jay has led me on my journey. Whenever I feel like I'm struggling, I'll step outside and I'll often hear the blue jay, which is really phenomenal. But the blue jay, she takes care of her community. She warns her community if something's wrong, if something's amiss. This is why she has that beautiful call of warning. She can imitate different bird calls as well. So she can make the sound of a hawk if a hawk is coming, or an eagle if an eagle is coming. But also if birds have been abandoned, or if something has happened to their parents, she'll actually go and supplement their nest and say, like, use their bird call so that they understand their own language and their own ways to call out to the world, which is so beautiful. But whenever I'm struggling, I find that the blue jay guides me on that path. Whenever I have moments where I have to really reassess where I'm at in my life, the blue jay always does come to me through my dreams and through my prayers. But what's really amazing about the blue jay is, even though it's called the blue jay, they're actually not blue. The only reason they look blue is because of this filament on their feathers. They're actually brown, but it reminds us of not everything that we see is true. We have to dig deeper, and we have to look beyond that surface level. And this is what the blue jay will teach us. It teaches us about that depth of really connecting with people, but also connecting deeply with our community. And so that's what the blue jay does. That is what our ancestors have for us. If we dig deep enough, they have those teachings for us. They have those stories for us. And they have those connections that they will lead us to. And so that's what this song is to me. This is the Ancestral Bird Song, also known as the Blue Jay Song. I'm a witch. So, I've just really had a lot of time to kind of reflect on the year ahead, and how things have changed a lot. I really miss being able to go into community and being able to go into schools and being able to go into different organizations and to be able to drum and hear everybody's voices, and to be able, to teach, how to create things, but also how to make art. Like, I really miss making a lot of the pieces that I would be looking forward to. I actually was really looking forward to making a really beautiful light up piece that actually had drums connected to it, but I didn't get the opportunity to. But hopefully soon. Um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting year ahead, but I think it's really important that we stick together, that we communicate with each other. I think the internet can be a good thing, but it can also be a double-edged sword. So don't fight with people online. Take it offline. Have a Zoom meeting, or go eventually, when we are able to spend time together, go have tea. Don't break up a friendship over an advertisement or an article. Our friendships are far more valuable than that. And it's really important, even if you don't see eye to eye with someone, to have those conversations. And, at the end of the day, if they are fundamentally different than your own, then yes, take a step back and take a step away from that relationship, or keep it at a distance. But when we break those ties, when we sever those lines of communication with people over something that really has nothing to do with us, it's damaging. It's damaging to our souls. It's damaging to each other. It's damaging to relationships. And there's other people watching us too. I mean, as a mom, I want to represent to my kids, that sense of community, that sense of camaraderie. I want to put my money where my mouth is. And if I'm sharing about deeply connecting to community, it's really about listening to everyone within the community, even people that maybe I don't see eye to eye, or maybe I don't, appreciate where they're coming from on certain topics, but I still want to have those conversations so I can see where we've veered off course in that relationship, in that communication. And when we do, oftentimes we can build stronger relationships. We don't have to agree 100% of the time, but it's the friendships that, will thrive and survive outside of political values. I have lots of friends that aren't politically on the same page as me, but I still love them. And I'm not going to let, a political upheaval damage my relationships. And I think that's really something that we have to look to in the coming year. It's been hard because we have been in our little bubbles, in our little silos, and oftentimes we hear that term preaching to the choir, but that's what social media has been. And we can do this, we can get through it together, but the operative word is together. Recognize what's important and recognize the relationships that we do have. So that being said, I want to sing the I Love You song because I love you. This song was taught to me by a couple of so amazing, powerhouse, phenomenal women. So I honor them with this song. I honor my friend Stephanie for sharing this song with me, and also my friend Sandra, who actually is my cousin, technically. Like I said, I'm Cree, I'm related to everybody, but for sharing these songs with me. And this song was originally done by Olivia Tailfeathers, and she had shared it along with other songs, because she said it was important. It's important to share that culture and to build those channels of understanding. And so this is the I Love You song, which is the only Blackfoot song I know. I need to learn more Blackfoot songs, but for some reason, whenever I hear them, they don't stay with me. And I've been taught that if something is meant for you, you'll remember, and whatever's not, it won't take up space in your brain. So you'll be okay. There won't be a test. I always say that there won't be a test. So don't write down your teachings. But songs are the same way. If a song is meant for you, it will stay with you. If it's not, it won't take up space. It will leave room for what is important. And all of our teachings are like that. And so don't worry about memorizing anything. It's really about feeling it in your core, and not letting anybody tell you any different, because everybody is on a different journey. And so you have to just move forward on your journey without judgment, because that's truly what wisdom is. That's truly what an elder is. It's someone who shares without judgment, shares, without precedence or expectation, but just does it because they know that they're going to help their community by doing so. And so this is the I Love You song. So it's Gitsigakkumen. So I'll sing it in 4 rounds. The first round, I'm going to sing it to everyone. The second round, I sing it to Mother Earth, which is Na'a. The third round, I'm going to sing it to where we are, which is Mohinstis, which is my home. And then the fourth round, I'm going to sing it to everyone again. I miss sharing this with little kids as a call and response because their little voices are just awesome. This is Gitsigakkumen. Gitsigakkumen, everyone. Gitsigakkumen, everyone. Gitsigakkumen, everyone. Gitsigakkumen. Such a fun song. And as I was singing, the Raven song got stuck in my head. So normally I share the story of the Raven with this song, but it's quite a long story. But the abridged version is the Raven thought he was better than everyone else because he had beautiful rainbow feathers. And he made everyone feel bad. And then they stopped doing what made them amazing. And then the bear, who keeps everything in balance, was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's happening here? And went to talk to all of the animals, who told him that, the Raven was making everyone feel bad. And so the bear said, well, do what makes you amazing. And went to the Raven and said, Raven, you can't make everybody feel bad. You're not greater or less than anyone else. You're equal as everyone else. And the Raven was still full of himself, thinking he was the best. And so the bear played the trick on him and said, okay, only the best animal could catch the sun, so go catch the sun. And the Raven flew higher and higher and higher. Of course, couldn't get to the sun. His feathers caught on fire, crashed into the ocean. He swam to the shore, and as he looked down, his feathers were completely black, completely burned. And so he was mad. And as he was hopping along, going to tell the bear basically what he thought, he passed all of the animals that he'd made feel bad and saw what made them amazing, saw how everything that they did contributed in a meaningful way to community and to keeping the world moving, to the way that the plants and animals grew. And it was incredible to him. And he thought, wow, everybody's amazing, and I'm not. And so by the time he got to the bear, he'd apologized to all of the animals. Normally the song is, or the story's a lot more drawn out, but apologized to the bear and told the bear he wasn't special anymore. But the bear said, no, Raven, you're really special. I mean, you learned about humility, which as what you will embody. And so to teach everyone about humility, the raven became the trickster, because nothing is more humbling than having a trick played on you to learn your lesson. And so when we sing this song, we it's that raven kind of calling out, you're calling back, but it's really about that connection that we have to the raven. It reminds us to be humble, and it reminds us that we are not on the same journey as everybody else. We have to be able to appreciate those differences and know that everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different, but we just have to support them no matter what it is, without judgment, without stressing about it, without comparing ourselves to others, because we don't know what their journey is. And really, it's about being humble, like the raven had to be humble, and that reminder of humility in our everyday life. It's a practice. It's something that's ongoing. It's not just like, I got this, okay, I'm good. No, it's an ongoing practice of humility. And so sometimes I have moments when I'm like, no, I gotta dial it back and be humble. Or moments where I have those brief moments where I'm trying to think, okay, why am I like this? And somebody else is like this, and I'm like, oh wait, no, I'm on a different journey. I gotta dial it back. And so we all have those moments where we stumble and fall, but it's when we get back up that will truly make us fly. And that's what this song honors. So this is the Raven Song. This song I actually learned from my cousin Damien, who is, he calls himself Cherokee, because he's Cherokee as well as Cree, but he's living down in the States right now. And I heard this song online, and I'm like, why do I know this song? And I finally was able to contact him and reached out, and then we found out we were cousins, so he's like, I'm going to teach it to you properly. I'm like, sweet. So it's just amazing how your journey brings you to exactly where you need to be, and the Raven had to figure that one out. So this is the Raven Song. Willow I'm going to just share a just quick closing song. This is the Thunderbird Song. Just to guide us on our way. So I use this song a lot as a traveling song because it reminds us that everything along our path happens for a reason. You know, whether it be people on our path to challenge us, whether it be people on our path to support us, everything that happens to us, we have a choice. We can either learn from it and grow from it, or we can ignore it and keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, in which case the Thunderbird's going to get fed up with us and kick us in the butt and put us on the right path, which is what happened to me several years ago. I was really fighting being on this path. I was afraid, I think, of, you know, sharing my teachings, of sharing the songs and sharing the stories and, you know, doing what I loved and what just came so so naturally and easy to me. And so I kind of was challenging it. And then I got hit by a car. Actually, I got hit by a truck, which is not very pleasant. But it put me on the path that I needed to be on. It reminded me, like, you weren't paying attention to all of those lessons that I was trying to teach you. You weren't paying attention to all of the signs, and so I just had to hit you with a truck so that you would pay attention to that sign. And so the Thunderbird will get annoyed with us, but she will always put us on the path that we need to be on. And we have a choice. We can either take the easy road or the hard road, but no matter which, we will get to where we need to be with the lessons that we will learn, sometimes over and over and over again. But it really reminds us that everything is a gift. And so even those hard lessons are a gift when we look back at it, as long as we remember that we can't go back in time to fix it, but we can learn so that we can move forward. And so, yeah, this is the Thunderbird Song, just to wish everybody a wonderful, you know, year ahead. I guess I'll see you next year. And really just about honoring the time that we have with each other. I've lost a lot of really wonderful people this year, a lot of wonderful elders this year, including, I just found out about one of my elders, Wilma, who was on North of 60. And Wilma Pele was an incredible woman. But the one thing that I will always remember of her is when we did the Vagina Monologues. And she did the piece called Because He Liked to Look at It. And it was about a guy named Bob. And whenever she would do that piece, there was not a dry eye in the house because everyone was laughing themselves to tears and occasionally peeing. So she was just incredible and inspiring, and she really paved the way for a lot of Indigenous artists, and so I'm thankful for her contributions. And so this is the Thunderbird Song, and it reminds us to remember those moments that we have with those people who really shape and mold and guide us for the better. So have a wonderful year and good luck on your path. This is the Thunderbird Song. Chimagwich, everyone. Hi, thank you so much for joining me. Please have a safe and wonderful New Year's, even though it's not technically my New Year, but, you know, the Gregorian calendar New Year. And I will see you next year, being next week. I'll see you next Tuesday. Again, thank you so much for all of your support. I'm glad that I can share in a good way, and I hope that I can help in a good way as well. So, Chimagwich, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Hi, hi.